Here are some phrases for making an invitation. You can start by asking if the other person is available with the phrases, "Are you doing anything?" and "Are you free?" For more formal invitations, use the phrase, "Would you like to?" And for more informal invitations, you can use "wanna" and "do you wanna?" Let's start by asking the other person about their availability. You can say, "Are you doing anything this weekend?" Or, "Are you free tomorrow afternoon?" Notice that we don't say, "Are you?" We say, "Are ya?" Try to repeat the question. Are you doing anything this weekend? Are you free tomorrow afternoon? If the person is available, then you can make your invitation. For a more formal invitation, use "Would you like to?" Would you like to join me for lunch? Would you like to see a movie tomorrow night? Again, we don't say, "Would you like to?" In natural spoken English, it sounds like, "Would you like to?" Try to repeat the questions. Would you like to join me for lunch? Would you like to see a movie tomorrow night? For informal invitations among friends, you can use "wanna" and "do you wanna?" Both of these are the short forms of "do you want to?" Try to repeat the questions. Want to go hiking on Saturday? Do you want to grab some coffee after class? Now let's learn how to respond to an invitation. Here are 3 possibilities for saying yes, accepting the invitation. I'd love to. Sure. Sounds good. Sounds great. If you want to say no to the invitation, use these phrases. I'd love to, but... For example, I'd love to, but I have other plans. I don't think I can. I'm really sorry, but... For example, I'm really sorry, but I have to pick up my kids from school. If you want to express the hope that the other person will invite you again in the future, you can say, "I'll have to take a rain check," or "maybe another time."
Speaking September is relationships and romance. Here are 7 English phrases and expressions that you can use when talking about this topic. Remember to give short answers to the questions in the lesson using the new phrases. Number 1. Have a thing for, or have a crush on. To have a thing for someone is an informal and indirect expression to say you are romantically interested in that person. Another, slightly more direct way to say it is that you have a crush on someone. These expressions are used when you feel attracted to the person, but you're not sure yet if the other person is attracted to you. For example, I have a thing for a guy in my class, but I'm too shy to let him know. I think Peter has a crush on you. His eyes light up when he's around you. Talk about a time you had a thing for somebody or had a crush on somebody. Number 2. Crazy about. If you're crazy about someone, that means you like or love that person very much. You can be crazy about someone who doesn't share your feelings, or you can be crazy about someone you're already in a relationship with. For example, he's crazy about her, but she won't even give him the time of day. This expression, "won't even give him the time of day," means she won't even speak to him. Jen and Chris have been together for 6 years, and they're still crazy about each other, meaning they love each other very much. Have you or one of your friends ever been crazy about someone? Number 3. Get serious with someone. If things are getting serious between two people, it means the relationship is getting deeper and is not just a casual thing. Two people who are getting serious might decide to be exclusive, date only each other, not date other people, or move in together. That means begin to live together, or discuss marriage. For example, my brother's never had a long-term relationship, but it looks like he's getting serious with his current girlfriend. Now it's your turn to use the phrase. In your past relationships, how long has it taken before you got serious with the person? Number 4. Pop the question. To pop the question is an informal way to say ask someone to marry you. The typical verb used for this action is propose. For example, you're engaged! Congratulations! So, how did he pop the question? In your culture, what are some traditions around popping the question, or creative ways to pop the question? Number 5. Have an affair. If a married person has an affair, it means he or she has a lover outside their marriage. They are romantically or sexually involved with someone who is not their husband or wife. The expression have an affair is usually only used for married couples. The more general term cheat on someone can be used for both married couples and boyfriends and girlfriends. For example, Travis discovered his wife was having an affair with someone at work. Lisa said she'd leave her boyfriend if he ever cheated on her. Now answer the question. Why do you think people have affairs or cheat on their partners? Number 6. Dump someone. To dump someone is to end a romantic relationship with that person. If you dump someone, it means you decided to end things and the other person wanted to continue. If you are dumped, it means the other person decided to end things. For example, Erin dumped her boyfriend because she said he was too controlling. Have you ever dumped someone or been dumped? Or has it happened to a friend of yours? Number 7. Soulmates. If two people in a relationship are extremely compatible in their personalities and values, meaning that they will probably stay together for a long time or even forever, they can be called soulmates. For example, I dated a lot of guys before finding my soulmate, and we've been married for 25 years so far. Do you know a couple who seem to be soulmates? For this lesson, I took some small pieces of conversations that I've heard in the past week, which have interesting informal expressions, and I'll be using them to teach you today. Let's look at the first one. Sorry I'm late, guys. I overslept. No worries. Let me bring you up to speed. You can say I overslept when you accidentally sleep later than you had intended to. For example, if you didn't hear your alarm clock. There's a different expression, sleep in, when you intentionally sleep later than usual. For example, on weekends or on holidays when you don't have to go to work or school. Now let's look at the next line in the conversation. No worries. Let me bring you up to speed. The expression no worries means no problem or it's okay. To bring someone up to speed means to give that person updates, tell them the information that they are missing so that they can have a current understanding of the situation. Another way to say this is let me fill you in. Here's another bit of conversation that I heard recently. What are you up to next week? We might go to the beach, but our plans aren't set in stone. What are you up to is an informal way to say what are you doing. You can use it to ask about someone's current activities or about their future plans, as in this example. What are you up to next week? You can also say, what have you been up to lately, to ask about what the person has been doing in the recent past. The response is, we might go to the beach, but our plans aren't set in stone. If something is not set in stone, it means it is not yet confirmed or final and could be open to change. Here's another bit of conversation I heard when talking about a book. One person said, I didn't read the book, I just skimmed it. And the other person replied, okay, but you got the gist, right? To skim a book or article means to look over it quickly. When you skim, you don't read every word carefully, you just try to get an overall idea. To get the gist of something means to understand the central or the essential idea, even if you don't know all the details. This was a conversation I heard after attending a presentation. That presentation was way over my head. Yeah, I found it kinda hard to follow. If something is over your head, it means it was too difficult for you to understand. The word way can be used informally to mean very or much. For example, if something is way too expensive, that means it is much too expensive, not just a little bit, a lot. So this person is saying that the presentation was much too difficult for them to understand. The other person responded, yeah, I found it kind of hard to follow. The expression I found it in this context means I thought it was, or my opinion is that it was. And hard to follow means it was difficult to accompany the flow of ideas. The speaker is implying that the presentation was rather disorganized and unclear. Here's our final conversation. It's two people who are talking about a new employee. The third time he screwed up, I almost lost it. You've got to cut him some slack. He's still new. The phrasal verb screw up means to make a mistake or do something incorrectly. Another way to say this is mess up. The expression I almost lost it means I almost lost my temper, meaning to get very angry, visibly angry. The other person said, you've got to cut him some slack. This means you need to give him some extra freedom or extra patience or treat him less severely than normal because this employee is still new. Learning English from conversations is a great way to improve your speaking. In the Everyday English Speaking course, you'll learn the phrases that native English speakers use in daily life. The lessons are based on dialogues. Visit espressoenglish.net, click on Courses, and look for the Everyday English Speaking course.